Welcome back to Bennett's Bike Social, and this is our new series called Rate My Ride, where top motorbike coach Mark McVeigh, hello Mark, and I, Michael Mann, will be analysing real riding footage submitted by Bennett's Bike Social members and Bennett's Bike Club members. But first, a quick word of thanks to Showy Helmets for helping us to make this show. Okay, Mark, look, we live in a world of there's action cameras everywhere in there, or people with their mobile phones stuck to motorbikes. Should we get stuck into what we've got? What have we got coming up first?
Yep. Okay, Michael. No worries. Let's hook into it. So we'll just run this clip through and probably recognize the helmet there. And we'll run it through and then we'll dissect it back. So
No, we don't need
obviously,
to dissect it, Mark. This is 10 out of 10 riding, isn't it?
maybe. Let's see. So yeah, listen, not too shabby there. So let's bring it back. So yeah, if we think about probably appropriate speed's the first thing. So if we kind of run that down, that's a really appropriate speed, I think, and you're getting organized and making sure it's kind of clear ahead. If somebody opens the door, it's not going to be the end of the world. That's the way I always look at things. That pointy door, I don't want to be going into that. Um, and then, yeah, you merge in nicely, get the head up, looking at the vision, and yeah, just all no dramas, nice and smooth and calm. So, yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. So I'd be looking at 9 out of 10 really for that. That's spot on, textbook.
Not a 10.
Yeah,
Can't
I
believe a
reckon.
10.
Yeah.
This is a road that I use and I'm familiar with on my commute to work, and I know that single lane, it goes into two lanes just at the entrance to the roundabout, but a lot of people just stay in the left-hand lane. There's a housing estate on the right-hand side, so there's often quite a bit of traffic coming from that way, and so I know that on a bike in a car, even when it does split into two, then there's always an opportunity to make a bit of progress on if you stick to the right hand side of those two lanes. But it also means that it's quite clear to see, and you can see my head moving slightly earlier in the clip. So yeah, looking around, making sure that there's nothing coming, and just kind of keeping that momentum going as well, and keeping the progress going, and sort of almost like filtering in. Oh yeah, I'm glad we've used that clip, because it's quite a good demonstration of just being aware of what traffic is coming and how you can make progress without while you're still saving yourself some time.
100%. Very nicely done.
Anyway, that's enough of me and my 10 out of 10 riding. What's the next clip, Mark?
It was 9 out of 10, just for the record. But anyway, the next one, okay, the next one might be a little bit controversial. So let's just run
Ooh.
this through first and see what happens. This is John from Bike Club. Put this video in for us. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's quite interesting. So
Okay.
let's just go back a little bit, and the first
Yeah.
thing I'm going to talk about, this guy was preparing like a lot. Okay, so if you watch the head movement, there's awareness going on, 360 awareness. He's doing shoulder checks, mirrors. He's looking ahead. He's planned this and executed it. My question is, would you do this if the police were watching?
That's a good question, because there's nothing illegal about it, I don't
All
think.
right, all right.
He's riding on a road that is very, very flat, and the countryside, there's no hedges, no trees to obscure his vision. So
Exactly.
I'm on the side of the rider here, because he's doing his checks. He's not speeding. He's given the car he's overtaking plenty of room. He's prepped it well. I think he's done a good job. He even acknowledges, doesn't he, afterwards? Like, you see his little left hand coming up and saying thank
He
you or
did.
sorry. I don't know. Is he apologising or saying thank you? I don't know.
He
But
did. He is.
I
So
don't know. Is that naughty? Don't know.
maybe,
Look. Let us, if you're watching this and you think it's bad, it's a bad move, let us know in the comments. Equally, if you're supportive of it, let us know.
yeah, yeah. So
Where are you
maybe
going with this, Mark? What do you
I
think?
think it's a bit naughty because he's lifted the hand off to kind of acknowledge that. But I mean, as far as safety goes, very good awareness, looking around, lifesavers, is at appropriate speed for his, the situation and his ability. The road's dry, there's no gravel there. You could say that, if you lost the front there, you'd be into that car. But
And I
yeah,
now seeing it for the second time through, I think that actually he should have waited until after the corner. I think just for on as a completely safe move. You know,
yeah,
what's he gained there by overtaking right there? Maybe 3 seconds,
yeah,
4
yeah,
seconds. I think,
exactly.
waiting till after the corner would have been the right move.
Yeah, I think so too. And the other thing is, the car drivers, might kind of surprise or annoy them. Not that that's high on our agenda, but we're kind of represented motorcycling. So,
Yes.
but yeah, it's kind of like, okay, lots of situational awareness, lots of planning, all that kind of stuff is really good. But yeah, you're gonna have to, maybe you give them a two for all those other good things. But yeah, I wouldn't do that personally. I kind of go, well, if the police were watching, or
Yeah.
how would people respond to that? So yeah, that's probably a two on that one. A wee bit of a, maybe a naughty maneuver.
Controversial, like you said.
I think
Come on,
so.
let's move on.
Okay, so back to less controversy. So
Ah,
in the town, all looks pretty straightforward. So let's run it back and kind of dissect it a little bit. So, appropriate speed. Yep, you'd say that speed's appropriate, just potting along. And position. Okay, so there's cars there, and I always go, okay, well, these cars are actually pointing in a kind direction. If they open the door, it's not going to be as bad as if they're pointing the other way. I always think about that. If somebody opened the door, where should I be? So that's not too bad. And position wise, could we be, a wee bit further? There's no cars coming, we can see. Could we be across the line a bit further? That might help things along. See beside the cars, and then see and be seen. Obviously, we've got this car here. So, if we're across here, then we can kind of see and be seen a bit better. That's kind of, I'm just kind of, trying to pick the bones out of it, because it's really, there's nothing wrong with it.
I can justify it all, you know.
All right, give it to
This
me.
is this again a very familiar road to me. It's in my town, and it's a 20-mile-an-hour zone, so I'm traveling
Ah,
at a a decent speed. Also, there's right there on the right hand side. Sorry, on the just to the right of the center white line. There's a couple of little potholes there, so I'm
yeah,
deliberately staying on my side of the road to avoid them. Um, but yeah, and I know there's a school down there on the left where that car's coming from, so there's often a bit of traffic coming out of there,
yeah,
and there's often some big lorries coming in front in that direction as well. So,
nice.
but yeah,
Yeah,
20
listen,
miles an
that's
hour.
a that's an 8.5 out of 10, I reckon. There's
Uh,
not much wrong with that. So,
Happy with that.
happy with that one. It all makes sense. Nothing too crazy. And then we'll jump on to the last clip here, Michael. So we're back onto the rural road. So we'll run this one through. And so, yeah, we've got a bit of pace going here. And then I can see the head movement, obviously checking the mirrors. Okay, there's a bit of a junction there. Okay. Alrighty, let's dissect this one. So we'll just bring it back.
Right.
So that kind of, so position wise, in line position two again. Yeah, the roads here are seem to have some trouble in one. There's definitely holes, and there's a bit of a drop off lip there. So it
Yeah.
makes sense that he's in two, safety bubble wise. And then you can see he's kind of getting ready, by his body language. He's starting to position into three, so he can kind of see past the car, and you can see the head moving there for the mirrors, and then accelerating briskly past. Now there is a junction there, so that's probably
Oh
not
yeah.
ideal. And then we're back in. So okay,
I don't see a
alrighty.
great deal wrong with that. I think that's quite a reasonably good example of overtaking, isn't it? He sort of moves out onto the opposite lane
Yeah.
in good time, and then uses the power of the bike to accelerate quickly past the vehicle. But can he see that junction before he makes the overtake? I can't quite work out whether he can.
No,
Um,
he can't see it there by the looks of things.
no,
So
no.
yeah, I
He
guess if
moves
we,
out nice and early, doesn't he? So I think this is a good example of how to overtake.
Yeah, so if we're gonna, pick the bones, if there's things that we could improve, if you look kind of when he goes into line position three, he looks there and then he goes. Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, the other thing that you can do is you can sit out. You don't have to go past the car. You can actually sit out here and have a look. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's really important to understand. Okay, let's just move. If you can't see properly, before you commit, just come out beside on the shoulder of the car. Then you can see there and then make your decision.
Mm,
So that's
yeah.
kind of what I would do in that situation. Yeah, and then that, having a junction there is not ideal. But yeah, listen, it's not bad. It's probably, I would say maybe just a seven because of that junction. I would, yeah, if you can't see, you shouldn't go, right? So, but there's nothing wrong with coming out here and then having a look. Oh, there's a junction there. Maybe I'll just
Yeah.
go back
Booking
in.
back in.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, so there you go. That's our Rate My Ride.
Brilliant. Well, that's a good set of clips, and we've got some really good advice and info there. Thank you, Mark.
No worries.
Thanks also to Shoei Helmets for helping us, or for supporting the series as well. Look, if you want to have your riding analysed, if you think you've done a particularly good overtake, or if you're just a bit worried about a particular piece of riding and you've got some footage that you can send us, just send me an email, enquiries@bikesocial.co.uk. Send me an email. I'll tell you how to get the footage over. And if we use that footage, you can win yourself a Shoei cap. How about that? Good stuff. All right, Mark. Look, for everybody else, Mark and I do another series called Better Riding, and it's full of advice and tips on how to be, all those elements of riding a bike and how to improve them. Look out for that on our YouTube channel. Cool. All right. See you next time.
No worries. Cheers, Michael.